about dumping dollars. They've got a lot of dollars to dump. They've got over $1 trillion. So does Japan. The yen is getting killed. Chinese RMB is going down. The only way these currencies can go up is if they start selling their dollars. They start selling their U.S. treasuries. And what does that do? That pushes the inflation back to America, because now the dollar starts to go. Interest rates start to go up. I mean, the world has been, propping us up. We've been exporting our inflation. They can send it back to us by intervening in these currency markets, but by not hoarding U.S. dollars, moving away from the U.S. dollar, moving out of U.S. treasuries. Now, the Chinese were making some noise about doing that. I don't know. I mean, I've always thought that if they were going to do it, they wouldn't telegraph it first. They would just do it. You would find out that they did it after the fact. You would see the collapsing dollar. You would see the collapsing bond market. They wouldn't be talking about what they're going to do, right? Why would you do that? If you were planning on making a big sale, you wouldn't alert everybody that you were going to do it, because then maybe you wouldn't get a good price. People would start front running what you had intended to do. You want to take the market by surprise, right? You don't want to telegraph what you're going to do. You hope nobody notices it, and you get to do it, without anybody figuring it out. But of course, they're such a big player that if they really start to meaningfully move out of the dollar, people are going to figure it out. But you figure they want to get rid of as many dollars as they can before the word gets out that they're selling. The reason you have inflation, right? Governments create money, and you have spending. You have too much demand. Well, and you don't have enough savings. How do you change that? Well, if interest rates are positive, if I can earn a real rate of return, I'll save my money instead of spending it. Am I going to be incentivized to save money? I mean, yes, losing 5% is not as bad as losing 8%, but who the hell wants to lose 5%? If I know I'm going to lose 5% on my savings, I ain't going to save. I'm still going to spend. And so if the government is not cutting back on my spending, I'm still spending everything and saving nothing, they're not going to bend that inflation curve. You've got to encourage savings. Where is savings right now? It's the lowest it's been since the 2008 financial crisis. Americans are spending everything. And in fact, what does the government want to do? Gas prices are up. Oh, we need to give people more money so they can buy those, so they can pay higher prices. No, people have to buy less gas. That's what they need to do. We can't just give them more money to keep buying it. Then the price will keep going up. So the government is not allowing the free market to do what needs to be done. We're a lot poorer because the government created all this inflation. We've got an enormous government that we've got to pay for. And how do we pay for all this government? Again, we don't get it for free. We're going to pay for it with a lower standard of living. Either we're going to have less money because the government takes our money, or we're going to have inflation because the government takes our purchasing power. That's it. There is no free lunch. Every time we get into a problem, the Fed covers up the problem with more monetary heroin, and then we have a bigger problem. And so we had a massive problem that erupted in 2008, and this one's going to be worse because we have a lot more debt now than we had then. That's why the problems weren't a crisis, because they hadn't developed to this degree. But now every problem is a crisis. That's why when they did QE the first time, they said it's a one-off event. We're never going to do it again. I knew in the beginning that that was a lie, that once they did it, they were committed. They had checked us into a monetary roach motel. There was no way out. I said it from day one. I said it in 2008, and I was right. And I warned about hyperinflation, and people were laughing at me because it hadn't happened. It just hadn't happened yet. It's going to happen, and even if it's not hyperinflation, it's going to be massive. We've already got the worst inflation in 30 or 40 years, and in fact, if they measured it honestly, last year was really the worst inflation ever. It was worse than any year. When the dollar collapses and it's no longer the reserve currency, and we can no longer act as a parasite on the world, we can't suck up all the goods that the rest of the world produces. Now the rest of the world is going to have a lot more stuff, and they're going to be better off. Right? The world is not better off because they're holding a pile of our paper. They're worse off. We're better off because we get their stuff and they get our paper. Well, when they keep their stuff and we keep our paper, the world is better off and we're worse off. And if the world is better off, then you're better off investing in those countries that are going to benefit from the dollar's collapse. You don't want to have your assets here because Americans are going to be a lot poorer at the end of all this, because we are living an artificially high standard based on the fact that the dollar is a reserve currency. Well, this crisis is going to end that reign. I think gold is going to replace the dollar. I don't think it's going to be the euro or the yen or the RMB or some special drawing rights coming out of the SDR. Everybody's going back to gold. I mean, that's where everybody always goes back to gold, right? Nothing has changed. If the money's creation slows down or reverses, everything implodes. So money supply is going to explode. There's no question in my mind that that is going to happen. It's already happened, and money supply is going to grow even more. In fact, since COVID started, I forget what 40% of the money that's ever been created has been created in just a couple of years. Well, when this next recession kicks into a higher gear, see, right now they're still pretending that it's not a recession because the unemployment rate officially is still low. Well, once the unemployment rate spikes up, they can't pretend anymore. But then the budget deficits are just going to explode from where they already are, which is a couple of trillion a year. And then, of course, the money supply has to follow, because how are they going to fund those deficits? They're going to create the money out of thin air to do it. Bitcoin and these other 20,000 fiat cryptocurrencies, that's all a sideshow. Yes, a lot of people got rich scamming people into this con, but a lot of people are also going to go broke. But at the end of the day, all that is doing is preparing the road for the real adaptation of that technology when it's married to real money, not these worthless tokens. All the places that people got rich during the bubble, that's where they're all going to go broke when the air comes out. And even if the Fed turns on the printing presses, the air's still coming out in real terms, because they're not going to be able to pretend there's inflation anymore. It only worked so long as they can pretend inflation was under 2%. They can't pretend that inflation is never going back below 2%. I mean, it will eventually, but in the foreseeable future, in the lifetime of the typical investor right now, you're not going to see it. It's not going to happen. What we experienced during the 2000s and the 2010s, that was a fluke. Right? What we're experiencing now, this is reality, and it's going to get worse. Inflation is going up, not down.
It doesn't make any sense that the markets continue to expect better numbers on inflation, yet continue to be surprised when those numbers come out worse than expected. Again, the classic definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, yet expecting a different result. In fact, the insanity goes all the way back to the days when everybody just said inflation was transitory. Because I remember we'd keep getting a hotter than expected inflation number, and everybody said, oh, don't worry about it, it's going to go away. It goes all the way back to the days when
turn this off right here, and my mic is not blinking, therefore it is on. Good morning to my YouTube family. I see you guys are all checking in. Oh, Rich. Later, Gator, right out the door. Good morning, YouTube family. We got Deanna, who was first this morning. Catitude, Bully Pack, good to see you, bro. Haven't seen you in a while. We got Tina, we got Connie Mensch, who is omnipresent. Deanna, good morning. Deanna, fix your stuff in Patreon, young lady. Catitude, yay! JB, good morning. Haven't seen you in a while. And we got what the frickin' checking in. I got people telling me to fix my mic and to just relax. Just relax. I don't want to relax. This is not a relaxing place. Let's see here. That's all right. I know, right? I literally Catitude. I just had to literally boot another one right now. Or who else checked in and said hi? There was a couple of the other ones that are Richard Fraser. Good morning. Let's see here. Let's see. And Lou Valagine, like I said, I don't know what that's about, bro. We've never talked about any of that. Okay, what's up, Ray? Good to see you. Good to see you. Tracy showed up. Good morning. Lindsay showed up. Nice. Good morning. And Sam, be ready. Good. What's up? Okay, guys. Out the door. This stream is only going to last for 1 hour. And the reason is because there's things that we can't talk about either here on YouTube or especially not on TikTok. My God, what the troll fest will be like today. So I'm going to be doing and I asked you guys last Monday what you wanted me to do. So I decided we're going to do the podcast, and I'm going to be on Podbean. I'm going to be posting a link. I have posted a link. That is a phone that I need to move away from the microphone. Somebody just did something on Patreon. Let me see what that is, because if it's somebody, that's just Jeff. Just saying good morning. Good morning, Jeff. No, thanks. Let's see here. But, so it's going to be on Podbean, and we got Bitches Be Trippin'. Good morning. Good morning, Johnny. The topics today, well, as usual, we do our standard opener stuff. But the big thing right now is, let's see, it's going to be economic downfall right now, as well as what to do about it. And then we're going to be discussing a lot of the strategies, our prepper strategies, actually on the podcast, which will go shortly after 11 a.m. As usual, I can't put a link inside it. You know what? I might be able to do that. I don't know if it will allow it, but I can try it. And I will drop that link to the Podbean just before I turn everything off and reconfigure everything for the podcast, because there's a little bit of stuff there. Let's see here. There's a few posts that weren't there Thursday. I don't see. Okay, I got you. That was something else. Okay, let's see here. Yo, good morning. Hey, what's up, Chris? Good morning. Chris Leroy. Let's see here. Jeff O popped in. Bradley made it. Nice. Thank you. Blaine is here. Nice. So all the regulars, I'm loving it. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get this party started here. First things first, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about this tropical storm just a little itty bit. I'm going to go and hit the update button here because I've been kind of tracking it. It looks like it's moving. It's going to turn into a hurricane probably Wednesday afternoon, but you'll start to feel it down there in southern Florida. And then obviously it's going to turn into back to a tropical storm. They don't really say which number. I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to get it too deep into this. But it's going to be a hurricane. It's going to turn back into a storm, then turn back into a depression, run through Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, but it will mostly stay off the coast, which is weird because this thing's 400 miles wide. It's big. It's a big storm. It's a big storm, but it will lose its juice. So we'll see. And it actually kind of sped up because the projection from the last. This is actually the updated projection where it has slowed down a little bit. Had it over the center of North Carolina, just barely touching the coast because it's going through inland, and it has moved west. But it'll be a depression, and it's not going to be there until probably Friday. Oh, excuse me. Woo! Oh, excuse me. As usual on the TikTok side, do me a favor, start smashing those little on your screen, and get those numbers up a little bit. And then on the YouTube side, if you could please hit that like button one time, I appreciate it. Good morning. My melodies both showed up like Nick and Knack. Like conjoined twins, they just popped into the chat. I'm not looking forward to dealing with another hurricane, but we're ready here in Okeechobee. Gotcha, Deanna. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I'm not looking at the numbers, but it's probably going to be a 1. So it just turned into a hurricane in the last few hours. I'm going to go ahead and pour us some coffee here. And somebody put something on the TikTok side, which economy cuts block grants for privately owned prisons, make the owners pay their own bills on upkeeping. Is it a Cat 1 when it hits the coast? Conservative Dave, hopefully I answered your question. I believe that's what it is. I'm not really going to go too deep into it. Hold on a second, guys. Prepper Cat wants in the house, and she's just going to rip the screen up if I don't let her in. Come on, kid. There you go. And she's got to run through here, and she's like, do-do-do-do-do-do. And then she's got to go outside where her food is because I'm her doorman now. It's the best. I think if anybody wants to buy me something for Christmas, I want you to buy me an electric shock collar for dogs and cats. No, go lay down. Penny decided, so every morning we go and we walk about a mile, and Penny decided to disappear, and I caught a glimpse of her. I said your name. Go lay down. I'm not really mad at her. I'm mad at what I have to do. I caught a glimpse of her, and she was just back rolling all in the grass, just legs flailing all over the place. She was in heaven. And, hey, good morning, Celia. Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Trevor. And I was just like, oh, no. And then she comes running up to us, and she looks like somebody rubbed caramel all over her body. So I know she's found some kind of dead, like, fox poop or something to roll around in. And she doesn't smell super good right now. So I have to wait till it warms up to give her a bath. And it's like 40 degrees outside right now. Hey, Doggaball, good to see you. Yeah. It is what it is. So that's what I'll be doing this afternoon. We'll just add that to my list of tasks. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and roll off of that and hit our annual our gas price checks. Right now, annually, gas is $3.80. It is going up as promised. There was a spike in natural gas on the 7th, if you guys didn't see that little video that I put out. And of course, I had to have people chiming in. Oh, gas, it went up a little bit, but it shouldn't affect anything. Right. Thanks for showing up, Armchair Warrior. We got here yesterday. It was. It's just going up. It's just like this little tweak. So we'll see what it looks like tomorrow and the next day. What do we got here? And then I was watching the futures, and the futures were completely accurate on the on both all the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, the S&P 500. They are all in the red. Now, will anything happen? Likely not, because there's just no reason. I don't see you on TikTok. Ruth, well, good, Ruth. You can see me here, but I'm on my 2.0 channel because my primary TikTok was live stream banned until the 11th. I'll try and use that on Monday. If not, I'm on the TikTok 2.0. It's Local Prepper 2.0. Let's see. But it's better over here anyway. So just like, follow, subscribe, all that crap. But yeah, we will see what the markets actually do today. And surprisingly, it came out 2 days ago, and it was posted in the Discord. I don't know if I put it in the members only or in the economic side. But basically, old Joe just basically said, no more drilling. And people, so anybody who's actually seeing this, I'm going to scroll down to the actual chart. All right. This is the actual chart right here of by president. This is energy policy for the last 5 months. Others have, well, blah, blah, blah. Biden has leased fewer acres of public land and water offshore for oil and gas drilling than any other administration in World War II. Then they actually have the graph of all the presidents who leased land out. And you can clearly see at the very bottom that it was no bueno. This is the agenda. Guys, we have to realize that regardless of what happened last night, which is what we will be talking about during the podcast, and I will attempt to post links everywhere I can for the podcast, but I'm not super familiar with Podbean and its little tricks and quirks and things like that. I've done 1 or 2 live podcasts, but I think it was more of a like, oh my God, this is working, let's just keep going type of situation. So let's see here. As much as I hate winter in the Midwest, hurricane, no thanks. Yeah, exactly. It's like a trade-off everywhere you go. I mean, I wish there was like one place. Get out of here, fly. I wish there was one place where we could all just slip away to, where the weather was perfect and nobody would ever get dead. Let's see here. And yesterday, so there's our natural gas jump right there. Now, those of you on the YouTube side, you can see this. This is we actually had a somebody pop into the TikTok that I made yesterday about basically filling your damn gas tanks up. If you've got If you've got portable gas cans, fill them up. I hate to be this guy to always do the whole doom and gloom, and I try to sugarcoat it as best I can because preparedness should never be about fear, but you've got to see. It's like there's an old adage somebody told me once. When you see the light at the end of the tunnel, you have to make sure of one thing, that it's not a freight train. Okay? And the way we do that is by paying attention to what's going on around the world, paying attention to what's going on in our backyard, maintain just enough situational awareness that we don't go crazy. And when we see the writing on the wall, when we see those indicators, those triggers, or trigger events, then we have to look at them and go, what? Okay, time to do something. There should be something that I did because of this. So yes, on the 7th of this month, which was 2 days ago, there was a trigger event that most people did not see, and that was the spiking of natural gas prices. Now, it's the winter time. Everybody's been talking about the dark winter and how people are going to die, and they're right. They're right. You watch. No one's going to cover it, but there's going to be people. It's going to be like old folks' homes. It's going to be sad. It's going to be like that thing we can't talk about where people are going to freaking, like, these old people are just going to freeze. It's going to happen, guys. Now, America is abundant with natural gas or liquid or what do they call it? Liquid LNG. Okay, we're abundant with it. We should be surviving with it, no problem. But obviously, we're shipping that off to Europe because Europe needs it right now because of their particular situation. What's up, Iron Bug? Good to see you. Let's see here. And I'm going to go back to what was on the TikTok chat here in a second. Let me finish my thought process here because the YouTubers can see the screen that you guys can't see, which is a graph of what they call the natural Henry or Henry Hub. It's the price of liquid natural gas, and it is live. The market's opened at 9:30, but on the 7th of this month, the price of natural gas was going down, okay? Because we had started to do these things that were going to make things better. So on 2010, where are we at here? It started to spike. Where is it at? Right there on the 7th. Now the graph shows that it's starting to go down, but that's only because market trading just started 45 minutes ago. So the price of natural gas spiked. Now here is the relevance. All right, let's see what we got here. If I hit refresh, see if we can get it to show us. Oh no, there it is. Woo-hoo, look at that. Here's the relevance. Most people. Hey, what's up, Cool Cole and Ruth? All right, I said hi to Ruth already. Our power plants, most of our power plants now run off of natural gas. A lot of people don't know that. What's up, Faith? Good to see you. Most people don't know that. We don't have, percentage-wise, there is a higher percentage of power plants that run off of liquid natural gas or LNG versus a coal-fired plant. So, yeah, that's going to be an issue. So you can expect when the cost of LNG goes up, you can expect the cost of your power bill to go up. And people have been speaking about this for some time. And then if we combine that with, and now I'm spitballing, but if we combine that with the problem that we're having with the diesel, that it's starting to show it. Hey, Lanny, what's going on? Allison, good morning. It's starting to rear its ugly little head. What's up, Mountain Shine from Jamaica? Good to see you. It's starting to rear its little head. There are signs that are starting to get put on our gas handles. Where we get our diesel. We're starting to see that. There is, and it's all being very, very, very hush-hush. There have been notices that have been going out to the fuel companies. I believe it was either Love or I can't remember the name of the other one. Somebody put it in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. I know we got a lot of truckers in here that are saying that they're talking about deliveries that are going to be like 75 days until they can get a delivery to certain stations. What's up, Westworld? Let's see. They've moved the East Coast into basically category red. They have a system that they use. Pilot, thank you. What the frickin'? But I think it was Love. I don't think it was Pilot that did it. But aren't they? I think they're the same though, aren't they? Flying J, maybe. It's one of those three. But anyway, so the Eastern Coast, the Central Eastern Coast, has been moved into like category red. And then they actually have a number system for the movement of priority diesel throughout the nation. Heat cost goes up. Yeah, things are gonna boring countries. It's gonna start to get bad here shortly. But anyway, so and then they put like 4 states in like category 3, and what that means is that when it sets a fixed price. So that when a gas station buys gas or makes an order for gas, the order is 72 hours in advance. The price is set, and when it's delivered, that price stays the same. Because if they're not in that particular category, what happens is they buy the gas, they do the order at say $3 a gallon, right? And then when it gets there, they charge them, it's like $4 a gallon or $3.75 or whatever. The price goes up with the market. So they've put them in these gas stations or these parts of states in certain categories so that they have a 72-hour mark and they have to stay at that price. So basically what you can expect is fuel costs are going to float for like 3 days. And then as the fuel gets more expensive, they have to buy that every day, 72 hours out, and those prices are going to go up. So basically every 3 days, you're going to have a large jump in prices from more than 0.01%, 1 cent. It's probably going to be, it's like when you see that whole 10 cents a day thing that we were looking at about 6 months ago. That's the stuff you're going to start seeing. It's going to start happening rapidly. So here's what I would do. Here's what I would do. I would make sure that you keep gas in your vehicle. Remember that the fuel that you're buying today is an investment on tomorrow. It's like insurance. And I would make sure that you have a couple of fuel cans. I actually went and picked up 2 of those stupid rhino-looking ones that some nutbag came up with, from some other place. That make no sense whatsoever and will probably break. But right now they're holding 12 gallons of gasoline. Picked up a couple of those. I think I paid $24 for each one of those cans, which is utterly ridiculous. But we all need to... Tanker, what'd you delete your message for? I wanted to read that because I know that you're a trucker, bro. Don't be afraid to say something on here, because if you do, what'll happen is YouTube is just going to... It's going to kind of flag you and say, hey, let this go or not. And then I'll just push a button and everybody can see it. So if you've got some relevant information, we definitely want to hear it, bro. We definitely want to hear it. Latin Stallion, good to see you, bro. Good to see you, man. And if I missed anybody else on the TikTok side because I was looking around or talking or then good morning to you as well. I'm trying to play catch up. Okay, so let's see. What do we got here? Let's go ahead and move off of that one. But Tanker, if you got something to say, bro, 1, be careful because you're probably driving. Or you just drive, bro. We got you. All right, see here. What do we got here? Meta reportedly ready to fire 1,000 this week. So if you guys didn't know this, with old Elon Musk buying Twitter, which I'm very cautiously speaking, it has placed the other social media platforms in a little bit of a tizzy based on what he's doing, because now he is positioning his company to outperform the other companies. And now what they have to do, because they know they can't do what he's doing. So now they have to start firing people. And they have to start firing people because they don't have the money to keep up with him. And obviously there's some other stuff that, with the leaked Department of Justice papers that basically showed there was a backdoor into Facebook. And if you guys didn't know this, it was going on in Twitter as well. This is not disinformation nor misinformation. It is 100% provable on the internet. No joke. There was actually a court case. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. The court case was won. Nobody frickin' reported it. No one reported it. So it is what it is. Let's see here. Tanker says, when Biden came in, we lost 3 refineries on the East Coast that were big diesel producers. They didn't meet EPA standards. I believe it, bro. I believe it. They're just little by little cutting these strings that keep the world going. Why they're doing it, I don't know. It's either I don't know if it's like a mental disease or if it's actually very logical and trying to make the world the way they see it. It's got to be one of the two. But it's not going to work. You can't just store gas indefinitely. Yes, you have to rotate it. It's normally good for 6 months to a year. You do have to put some particular chemicals in it. I use sea foam myself. You should probably gas in your gas. Yes, that's what I just said. We're good to go. And that was Latin Stallion saying good morning. But yes, Agro. I'd love to be able to say your name correctly, but there's too many vowels in it. I'd never move back to populated. Yeah, exactly. When you also need heavy crude oil to make diesel, and we get a lot from Canada, and it's slowed down. Yes, absolutely. That's absolutely true. Like I said, either this is some kind of mental disorder, or it is just willful. It's a willful attempt to change the world to their particular viewpoint that is doing nothing but damaging the world as we know it. It's very sad, but I mean, to each their own, and I'll be more than happy to sit back here and carry on with my ways that basically leave me alone, and until you decide to not leave me alone, and then you have a problem. All right, see here. What's the next one where we've got right here? And I need to push that button because I apologize, but the last thing we talked about was not on the YouTube side. Let's see here. Give Kremlin a warning. Let's see. A nuclear apocalypse submarine enters Mediterranean Sea. This was actually confirmed. The USS Rhode Island rolled up into the Mediterranean Sea and popped up and went into a port and said, hey guys, I'm here. Now, why is this happening? This is happening because, well, it's a training exercise. No, nuclear submarines have no reason to just pop up and go into a port. They can stay down for quite a long period of time. And that's generally their tactic for survivability. When a nuclear submarine pops up, then they're letting them know we're in the vicinity and that our strike time is significantly less than what you thought it was. That's what that is all about. That is exactly what that is. Yes, slides. Slide it. Yes, slide it. You slide it. Oh, oui. Nuclear subs show themselves as a visual threat. Deterrent. A deterrent. That's what happened. So, basically the Russians, there was a Russian submarine that launched a ballistic missile from the White Sea as part of a training mission. And so our submarine popped up saying, ooh, look, we could do that too if we wanted to. And that's literally what that is all about. Okay, so we're going to move on from that, and then we're going to go to the next story, which is it's kind of funny, but kind of not. So the UN tells Elon Musk to monitor his harmful disinformation and hate speech. This is just another attempt for it wasn't the UN, that was it was the UN. So the UN is trying to tell Elon how to run his company. I think that these people have forgotten that what's happening is this is a referendum on the control of speech. When they say you need to monitor your harmful disinformation and hate speech, what they're really saying is you need to play by the old rules. And, well, apparently Mr. Musk is not doing that, in which he has the right to do, as long as he's not violating any rules. They actually tried to get him last weekend in Germany, and he basically reviewed the situation and then made a post saying, yeah, we've looked at this, and it doesn't violate any of these things, and go away, Germany. So, laugh out loud, crunchy socks. I don't know what that's. I don't know what that means. one denier. Let's see. Yeah, they're trying to maintain control of the speech in the world, and it is a bad thing, and it's obviously one of the reasons why you're going to start seeing more people on more platforms that don't do that, which is why we'll be doing we'll be continuing this 2-hour thing that we do on Wednesday on Podbean here in, I don't know, 32 minutes. Good morning, JDM. Good to see you. Doug, good. Doug showed up. Good to see you, bro. Let's see here. What's for breakfast? I already ate breakfast. I had 2 eggs over easy and 2 pieces of, was it 647 white toast and the delicious jam that we made last week. Yeah. That's the good stuff. But in the interim, I'm going to be drinking coffee from this mug. Let's see here. And if you guys were on the Discord, one of the things that I do, I don't know if anybody's ever noticed it before, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you. And it's not really a thing. It's just something I like to do. So I've made GIFs saying good morning, preppers, and I use this with specific mugs. And what I'll do is I will use that particular GIF out in the general chat to let them know this is the mug that I'll be using today, because people have asked me about, hey, where did you get that? Where did you get that mug from? And some of them I just bought online, some of them I bought wherever, and then some of them I've actually bought on my merch store. And then it's not really like this one. This is just an old mug that says existence exists. But if you wanted a local prepper one, you could go to my merch store. It's localprepper.net. Go to the merch store and you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's see. Social media turns state-run media. What's the topic? It's like, should I be only talking about one thing, guys, for like 2 frickin' hours? Is that what I should be doing? What's the topic? We're currently talking about how the United Nations is trying to get Mr. Musk to monitor harmful disinformation and hate speech. And then we're going to move on to some economy stuff, and then we're going to talk about some general preparedness stuff. Let's see here. Know the difference between jelly and jam. Know the difference between jelly and jam. Why don't you tell us, 40 Smith & Wesson? Let's see, current topic. How about that? Oh, okay, Jason. The current topic for Jason is the UN tells Elon Musk to monitor harmful disinformation and hate speech. But now we're going to change that. So let's see. Let's go ahead and push a button here. I've got something for you to watch on YouTube. Here we go.
The result of this may not be the toppling of Russia and its attempts to reform the Soviet Union, but it may end up being the toppling of America. I mean, Russia was this one great superpower, and then there was the United States. Well, Russia collapsed, but the United States remained as the sole remaining superpower. But our economy, our industrial base continued to disintegrate, and we may now be on the cusp of the collapse of our empire. And it might be ironic that the nation that ends up pushing us over that precipice is what remains of our former adversary in the Soviet Union, Russia. The Fed is going to blame a lot of the new inflation on Russia. It doesn't have to blame it on COVID anymore. It can blame it on Russia. And it's going to be an excuse to allow rising inflation. Just like they claimed it was transitory because of supply chain bottlenecks, well, now they can pull that transitory card out again only this time it's because of Russia. The supply chain problems are now because of Russia and the Ukraine. It's got nothing to do with the Fed. It's got nothing to do with monetary policy. In fact, the Fed needs a more expansionary monetary policy to counteract the damage being done to the economy from what's going on with these global supply chains. Like, we need more money, which is exactly what they did, when the oil price went up in the 1970s. That resulted in the Fed printing more money, creating more inflation, because the Fed wanted to offset the contractionary effects of rising oil prices on the economy, and the Fed wanted to make sure that consumers had more money to buy more expensive oil. And of course, that's what was fueling the process. And the same thing is going to happen again, which is why I do believe that the only viable path for the US government to take, and maybe even before the next election, is going to be price controls. It is going to be rationing. I mean, we did that in World War II. We had rationing. Things were in short supply. We had price controls in the 1970s. That may be where we're headed, because I don't see the Fed doing what Paul Volcker did in the 1980s, not in the vulnerable position that the US economy is now in. And that is why it's different this time, because when inflation was low, when the Fed could point to a CPI that was below 2%, well, at that time, the Fed could justify the cheap money. The Fed could actually say, look, the economy is weak, but also inflation is too low. And they came up with this cockamamie explanation of why too low inflation is bad. So we can kill two birds with one stone with this monetary policy. We can stimulate a weak economy, but we can also get more inflation, which is what we need anyway. We were not hitting our target. We didn't have 2% inflation, which supposedly is the holy grail when it comes to inflation, and we weren't quite there yet. And so we're going to pursue these policies. But when you've got inflation well above 7%. And with what we're seeing now, there's no way inflation is going to be under 10%, even the way the government measures it in 2022. So when you've got 10% inflation officially, unofficially, maybe double that, maybe 20%, if that's how much prices are going up, there is no way the Fed could claim that we need more inflation. And it cannot justify its excessively loose monetary policy on low inflation. But for now, what's going on in Russia is actually working to help somewhat and offset the situation, because it is driving some safe haven flows into the US dollar. And so that is keeping a lid somewhat on prices that are surging all around the world. But that benefit is not being enjoyed in Europe. I mean, prices are rising in the US despite a strong dollar. That means they're rising even more in Europe as the euro is weakening against the dollar, and other countries that are seeing their currency weakening. Inflation is breaking out all over the world. So it's impossible for central banks around the world to justify a continuation of this monetary madness. They can't keep shooting monetary heroin into economies that are already overdosing from all the monetary heroin that they've already ingested. So we are at the end of our rope. Yes, maybe we can have a small bounce as investors still haven't come to terms with the degree to which the situation has changed, given how much inflation we have, given the enormity of the Fed's balance sheet, given that interest rates are already at zero. If we are going into a recession right now, even if the catalyst for the recession is what's happening in Russia, what is the Fed going to do about it? They have no room to cut rates, even if they get the first rate hike in March. But then they have to turn around a couple months later and go back to zero, because we're now clearly in a recession as opposed to just headed for one. How much stimulus is the Fed going to deliver when all you can cut rates is 25 basis points? Is it really going to make a difference to a weak economy if you take rates from 25 basis points to zero? Especially if inflation continues to get worse. But the minute the Fed does that, the dollar's going to tank. I mean, if the Fed has to go back to zero, I don't see how the dollar could survive that if the dollar hadn't already started to get killed based on the fact that the market sensed this was happening. What's going on with the safe haven flows to the dollar, that's going to blow over, just like any money that is flowing into these tech stocks and Bitcoin, because in this dynamic, these companies are not going to survive. I mean, right now, people are thinking, hey, the companies that don't have any earnings and don't pay any dividends, they're not affected as much by what's going on in Russia, right? We don't have to worry about the impact on their profits because they don't have any profits. They don't have assets in Russia that they're going to have to write down. Sovereign wealth funds aren't being pressured into dumping their shares at fire sale prices because of their connections to Russia. So people are piling into these stocks. But what investors are missing is the lack of viability of these companies, because they're not going to be able to come back to the capital markets to offset their burn. Companies in this space that are losing money are going to lose even more money because of what's happening in the global economy and Russia than they were losing before. And their revenue growth is not going to be there. So the dynamics are no longer there. And how are these companies going to survive if they can't sell new stock at inflated prices? How are they going to keep paying their employees when their employees don't want to work for stock options because the stocks are tanking? The dynamics are going to change, and the fortunes of these companies are going to change, and especially the people who are betting on them. This is a dead cat bounce in that sector. It is a dead cat bounce in Bitcoin, and anybody who missed the initial decline in the Cathie Wood type stocks or the crypto, this is your opportunity to get out of jail. Yeah, you're not going to sell at the top. We're nowhere near the top, but we're far enough off the bottom that you can sell and take comfort in the fact that you didn't sell the low. Although even the people who sold the low prior to this rally in a month, maybe less, will be glad they got out, because we'll be hitting new lows. But I want to go over some of the economic data that just came out in the last couple of days that continues to validate the stagflationary argument that I am making. And again, which is why this time will be different. When you have a weak economy and inflation, that's much different than having a weak economy and no inflation, because the Fed has lots of options when there's no inflation. It has no options when there's high inflation. And when the world comes to terms with that predicament, the way they allocate capital, the way they invest money will be very different than the way they did it in prior cycles. The money is going to plow into the mining sector, agriculture, metals. It's going to go into value. It's going to go into dividends. Those trends that were in place prior to Russia are going to be back in place after Russia. But again, Russia's going to be here for a long time. The Biden administration needs Russia. This is the excuse they need. They need to take these problems into the election. They need to have a scapegoat. COVID wasn't going to be it. If you look at the approval ratings for the Biden administration, they were in the tank. They needed some kind of tail to wag the dog, and this might be it, right? This could be the new gift that keeps on giving, not only for the central bankers, but for the Biden administration to blame any problems in the U.S. economy on what's happening in Russia.
All right, so basically what radio me if you need assistance. I'm code 4. That means he's on the toilet, guys. Let's see. So what basically happened was Russia is in the process of, they say they've sold all of it, but I'm not picking up a lot of articles about it. But Russia has sold all of its basically U.S. stocks and all of its getting rid of all of its U.S. dollars. Now, right now, the Russian ruble is holding at 67 rubles for one U.S. dollar, which is very strong, which, well, I'll say, in my opinion, very strong. But the idea is that they get off of the off the U.S. dollar and start to make their things their things. Someone's on the Patreon members only chat in Discord. Good morning. Good morning. And we're going to turn that off. After the work trip. Okay, good. Douglas just talking. Monetary shift, China yet? I'm sure China will follow. But the problem with China is that they are heavily invested in the U.S. They own lots of property. They own lots of businesses. So for them just to dump all their U.S. dollars would be kind of stupid, because those companies required payment or the movement of those companies financially require U.S. dollars. So do you need an account on Podbean to listen to the next part? No, I don't think you do, but I will counter that with, I don't think it's difficult to set one up. And with that, you can actually call in like a live show. You can say, "Hey, I'd like to say something," and I can let you on, and you can actually like talk, like almost like a call-in radio show. What's the future of the U.S. dollar? Morian 1178. It's not looking good. With the I'm trying to remember the name of it. I really should write things down. But basically, they're moving off the fast system, and it is going to be Russia, China. I think it's I don't know if it's India, or there's like 5 nations. There's like one little African nation that are going to move off of this, off of the system that we use to move money around between countries. And this is going to be significant. And once that happens, then there's no need for the U.S. to trade oil for the in the U.S. dollar. Saudi Arabia is going to be part of it as well. I would expect Iran to jump on the bandwagon. So it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. From PC, no, you can call or comment. No, you can use your phone. You can use your phone. That's the nice thing about the Podbean app. I would definitely get the Podbean app and set up an account, and then find me and follow me. And when I go live, it'll tell you on your phone that I actually went live. That's a system that actually works that I really like about it. Podbean is telling me that I have 3+ more hours on the free side before I have to start paying for stuff. But we'll see how that works out. PC requires no account. There you go. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Thank you very much, Islander Life. Appreciate that. But on PC, you can't call or comment. There we go. And Doomsday would know. This is where he lives, man. It's his bread and butter. He's informing us from the toilet. All right, so we got about 15 minutes left on this stream, this part of the stream right here. I'm going to go ahead and change my screen real quick. I'm going to pour a little bit more coffee because I'm going to do a little bit more talking. And what I've got pulled up right now, believe it or not, our illustrious government actually has things that talk about preparedness. This is actually ready.gov/plan. Or slash. I can never remember if it's back or which one is back. Yeah. But what I think we need to start doing, for those of you that are new to the channel or new to prepping in general, is to pull your heads out of your butts and start actually putting some things aside. The things that I talk about generally are, on the logistical side, are water, food, and security. Now on ready.gov, it's actually make a plan. Prepping for what? Prepping for what? I'm going to let you float for a little while there, Marin 1178. Go bag suggested in New York. Yeah, you would definitely want to get out of New York. But it's actually kind of laid out. Everybody's always looking for this like written plan to, details to follow and things like that. And when you get to a certain level in preparedness, it's like, why? I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to sit down and write. I want to talk about the things that are relevant to my prepperdom and help the people that I can. So that's why I'm pointing people back here. They make a plan, the 5 steps. How will I receive emergency alerts and warnings? Okay, so now we're talking about the basics of communications, getting information to you. What is my shelter plan? So that's bugging in. What is my evacuation route? That's bugging out. What is my family/household communications plan? Oh, a comm plan. That's pretty cool. Do I need to update my emergency preparedness kit? Well, that's either a bug in or a bug out kit. So they're hitting all the wickets. You just have to change the language to understand what they're actually saying. Lean left is back to the beginning. Right is forward through the reading. Sean, that makes no sense. It makes no sense, Sean. Speak logically or be gone, Sean. All right, so what do we got here? Consider specific needs in your household. Differing ages, responsibilities for assisting others, locations frequented, dietary needs, medical needs, including prescription and equipment, disabilities or access, languages spoken, cultural. Okay, so now we're kind of petting or service animals. We're getting kind of deep here, but step 3, create a family emergency plan. Making a family emergency plan quickly and easy with our fillable form. Whoa, a form? Whoa, let's open that puppy up and see what it looks like. All right, home. Household information, okay, home, an address. I mean, it says it's fillable. Is it like printable? Add another name, emergency plans, emergency contacts. I know I'm scrolling fast on the YouTube, guys, but I'm submit form. What am I? No. Why am I doing any of that? Submit form. No, we're just going to go back to plan ahead. All right, let's see here. Sorry, ran out of characters. All right, what do we got here? And then preparedness materials. Know about your alerts. 12 ways to prepare. Documents and ensure your property. Safeguarding critical documents and valuables. FEMA's online ordering site. What should we order from the FEMA site? You're leaving, whatever. Let's go see what are we ordering. A guide for alerts and warnings. A guide for alerts and warnings. Large print. Where are we at here? Full suite of all hazards info sheets. Active shooter in avalanche info. Cyber attack. Earthquake. Extreme heat. Financial emergency. Flood info. Hurricane. Landslide. Novel pandemic info sheet. Nuclear explosion info sheet. Woo! What are we talking about there? Nuclear. I can order this? Why would I order it? I can just print it out. Get inside. Stay tuned. This advice has not changed since the 1930s, guys. It has not changed since the 1930s. How to stay safe. What to do now, what to do during, what to do after. Logical. I like it. We may have to do some more, do a few more things on this in the future. But it's interesting to see that the U.S. government is actually still producing these kinds of documents. Get ready for a disaster. 12 ways to prepare. Ooh, 12 ways to prepare postcard. Let's see here. What do we got here? Sign up for alerts. Make a plan. Save for a rainy day. Check. There's like a little checklist. I like it. Practice emergency drills, which nobody does anymore. Test family communications plan. Well, you got to have one first. Safeguard documents. Plan with neighbors. Oh, my God. Make your home safer. So now we're talking about security. Know your evacuation routes in case you have to bug out. Assemble or update supplies. Those are preps. Get involved in your community, which nobody does. Document and insure property. That's pretty awesome, man. On a FEMA site. This is ready.gov, bro. This is ready.gov. There's a lot of information that the U.S. government puts out that no one knows about. I tell people all the time, did you know? So there was something that I was talking about a couple days ago where has anybody gone and talked to their local sheriff and said, what is the plan if a nuclear weapon goes off somewhere? I mean, what is our plan? Is there a written plan? Do we have sites? Are we supposed to tune into AM 720 or, I mean, what is the plan for that? Is there a plan? And I mean, and not to go into it in a facetious manner or a I know more than you know matter, or, just go in looking for information to absorb, Bully Pack, have a great day. More storm prep to do. All right, Bully, we'll see you later, bro. Stay safe. What's the plan for your local government, for your local police, for your local fire department? Because we're so used to, if you're in hurricane land, basically all the cops get called in, all the all the firefighters all go to their stations, EMTs, and then they kind of wait, because they kind of bunker down and wait for things to clear and then start going out on calls. But what's the plan for a nuclear detonation? Because I'm betting there isn't one. I would put money on the fact that there isn't one, because what happens is all of the services that our taxpayers pay for locally are all focused on huddling up and standing up the reaction center, the fusion center, the information center, That's what they're all focused on. So the government actually teaches these classes on how all that network infrastructure is ran and what's going to happen and the words and the lingo that's going to be used and things like that. So what happens when they execute that plan and then nothing? They're all sitting in their fusion cells waiting for screens to light up and phones to ring, and nothing happens. Nothing happens. So I think at some point in the near future, I'm going to go personally meet the chief of police of this local town that I've recently moved to and ask him a few of the hard questions. And then I'm probably going to go ask the fire chief and see if he has some kind of plan. And I'm probably going to go ask the sheriff and see what their plan is. Because, if you don't know, the sheriff is probably the most powerful individual in your county. He or she is an elected official, and he has more authority than anybody in the local governments. So let's see here. 911 is a fantasy during a hurricane. I know, right? But okay, so we've got about 5 more minutes. Thank you for listening to my little rant there. So I'm going to start trying to put some links to where are we at here? I think I posted one link. Where are we at here? That's YouTube. This is going to be my Podbeam. I'm going to put this in the YouTube page. That should get you to Podbean. Okay. Check your local judge and fire chief. The judge typically oversees the county plan. Gotcha, Chris. I appreciate that. And then I'm going to go ahead and fire up the TikTok and see local prepper /live. And I'm going to try and post as Podbean app in Play Store is free. Do they actually charge people on... Oh, shit. No, it's Local Prepper. Where are we at? Local Prepper. I think it's 2.0 live. Let's try that one. No live. There we go. Oh, something's happening.
Prepper.
There we go. I don't know. Let me mute that real quick. Mute. And then, how do I get it so I can... Son of a bitch.
And then...
There we go. We're gonna...
How do I get it so I can...
I need to
Son of a
mute
bitch.
that. There we go. And then I'm going to try and... drop that link, and hopefully it will let me. I don't know that it actually worked. Have fun, interact. Podbean was free. I don't think that it let me put that link in there, but what you want to do is you want to find Local Prepper on Podbean. Let me just see if I can't. I can't believe that it's not there. I'm going to open that up right there. And we're just going to search for Local Prepper. And we're going to search. Oh, no. Yeah, if you just type in Local Prepper on the Podbeam search engine, if you just type in Local Prepper, all one word, and find the live room. There you go. I guess that's a faster way of doing it. Okay, so what do we got here? It's 10:56. Checked with the local judge, and we did all of that other stuff. And let's see. I think I'm just going to go ahead and kill it here for now, guys, because it looks like you're going to need a little bit of time to get there, and I'm going to need a little time to set up. And then it comes up with a link. Gotcha. And then we're going to go from there. Yeah, it doesn't look like it allowed me to post the link inside of the TikTok chat. So we're gonna go from there. Hey, good morning, American honey. We're getting ready to all go to Podbean. So go to Podbean and look for Local Prepper, all one word. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down for right now. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna go ahead and fire up my. We'll see you guys on Podbean here shortly.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you decide to support the page. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and hit the link below. If it didn't take you directly to it, you can just hit the support page. That's what it should look like. All you have to do is either hit the Patreon symbol or the join button. Doesn't matter. Just hit it and that'll get you started. It's $3 a month for 30-ish days of work from me. The price of a Starbucks coffee. So until the next time, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.